This little project of ours started in 1999. My brother and I sat on the back porch of our house, and we thought that there had to be a better existence. We were working jobs that were pretty meaningless, and I think that after talking with a few of you, you guys have that framework instilled in you. You're thinking outside of the box. You're thinking that something has got to be better. And that's how I felt in 1999. So we dreamed up Black Shirt Brewing Company. And this, first of all, is owned by me and my brother and my amazingly hot wife. She's my best friend. I wish she was here. She is so badass. I first of all couldn't have done this without a team. And so I love people saying, hey, this is the owner of Black Shirt. This took me and my brother, my wife, and Megs, and our whole crew to build. So I love sharing this story with you guys, but this is all about a team building this thing together. People believing in something and going after it with everything that we got. So in 1999, we dreamt up Black Shirt Brewing Company. We knew that we wanted to brew beer a certain way. We were under the understanding that if we were to go get investors, that there would have to be a return for those investors. The way that we wanted to brew beer was not how industrial beer is made. Most of the beer that you guys drink is shoved through a filter, is shoved through a centrifuge. These are devices used to push beer out in about 17 days. The beers that you guys are drinking tonight are made in about 2.5 months up to 3 years. These beers take us a long time. We don't use any of these devices to try and speed up things so that we can make a quicker profit. This was just about doing something that we loved and hoping that we can do this for the rest of our lives. We want for very little. I drive a old vehicle. I live in a small house. I'm happier than hell. I work here 16 hours a day, now 7 days a week, but I love doing this. So 1999, this was dreamt up. 2009, fast forward, we opened Black Shirt Brewing Company off of a 10-barrel system out of the garage in a house in South Denver. This was after 9 months of us applying, petitioning our neighborhood. We found out that there was a winery down the street that had opened up on this block that we bought our house on, and we're like, how the hell can they do that? The laws don't allow that. This is a residential street. Back in the 60s, this street was zoned for commercial business. They built houses. They never rezoned any of the properties. The guys down the street opened a winery. We thought we might be able to open a brewery. We didn't have a whole lot of money. I had $50,000 saved up. We applied. After 9 months of paperwork and petitioning, we got our federal license, we got our state license, we got our county license. I piped stainless steel pipes down into my basement. Everything was hard piped in. We operated a 10-gallon brewing system out of South Denver, and this is where Black Shirt Brewing Company got its start. This is in 2009. We then took our beer in 10-gallon batches, and this beer took us 2.5 months to make. We took it around to all sorts of different restaurants. We wanted to start getting our reputation. We made $0 on our beer. This was about building something from nothing. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had the desire. And so we went to...
Eat it.
Eat it! You want it? Eat it! So we took our beer over to all these different restaurants, asked people if we could do a collaboration dinner. We poured next to Avery, we poured next to Odell, we poured next to all these guys. We started getting our name out. 3 months after we opened, the feds contacted us and said that they had changed the laws, that we were no longer allowed to operate Black Shirt Brewing Company out of our house because my garage was attached to my house. If it was 3 inches away from my house, we would be okay.
He should have moved it.
So here we are brewing 10 gallons of beer at a time. I had the option of building another garage that could house our brewery. My neighborhood wouldn't allow me to do that. We were effectively put out of business. This was a very sad time in my life. I had worked, 10 years to build this thing, but a very happy time because my wife, who at the time was my girlfriend, I'd dated for 9 years. We went out to eat maybe 5 times while we were dating. I asked my girlfriend if she would marry this lowly man that had these crazy dreams of opening a brewery someday, and she said yes. We went off and got married in our hometown, which is Westcliff, about 2 hours away from here. Usually nobody knows that.
Yeah, Westcliff!
The hell's Westcliff?
Westcliff!
That's where the rednecks come from.
Yeah!
So we took a honeymoon instead of flying down to Mexico and sitting on a nice posh little resort. We were like, let's go take an adventure. We went out to California for 3 weeks with no plans. Jumped on a plane. We're going to land in San Diego. We're going to end up in San Francisco. Spent a week in San Diego. On the plane ride over, we wrote this little list of things we were going to do. My wife wanted to catch our dinner from the ocean one night. We were going to sneak into a vineyard in Napa, camp out, and sneak back out without the vendor ever knowing. So just fun stuff like that. So we got into to San Diego, went into San Luis Obispo, slow. We had friends that were throwing a concert like 40 miles outside of San Luis Obispo in the middle of this farm country, and this was going to be a huge concert. So my wife and I popped into San Luis Obispo early in the morning. This guy was unlocking his brewery. 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm driving with my new bride, and I yell out the window to this guy opening his brewery, and I said, excuse me, I've just married the woman of my dreams. Is there any chance that I can take my wife into your brewery and have a beer with her before the masses cloud everything up for us? The guy rolled his eyes and let us in. I got to have a beer with my new bride in the middle of a brewery. This is what we had talked about for 9 years when we dated. The guy asked us about why we were named Black Shirt Brewing Company. First of all, the guy knew that we knew a little bit something about beer. He's like, you guys seem like you know a little something about beer. I said, yeah, we used to have a brewery in Denver. It was called Black Shirt Brewing Company. He goes, oh yeah, that's cool. What kind of beer do you brew? And we said, well, we brew red ales. Cool, what else do you brew? No, we brew, that's what we do. We brew red ales. Just weird, it was weird. This was a weird thing. Now, I can dance all over your palate with our different red ales, but we chose to hone our craft, and we chose to focus on one style and do something really well versus opening kind of a Walmart approach to a brewing company, which is having something for everybody on tap. Anybody that walks through the door, we've got something for you. That was never our focus. My father told me at a young age, before he died, he said, if I can give you one piece of advice, do one thing and do it really, really well. And I probably took that a little too literally. We do red ales. The guy was weirded out. That's weird. That's cool, but that's weird. Why are you called Black Shirt Brewing Company? Black Shirt Brewing Company, similar to kind of the attitude here, was always against an installation of going against the norm, the counterculture. My dad instilled this love of music and rock and roll. And it was back then where the rock and roll, the people that played rock and roll were the rebellious, weird, outcast people. We fell in love with it, and that's who we were. So we're known as the Black Shirt Brothers. Ever since we were little boys, we've worn black t-shirts. Meg can attest, even on our days off, we're wearing black t-shirts. It's just, that's how we've been raised. That's what we were used to. So the guy kind of thought that was weird. I noticed that he was moving new brewing equipment in. So I asked him what he's doing with his old brewing equipment. And my wife kicks me because we're not supposed to talk about business on our honeymoon. And he says, well, we're just going to start another brewery. It's not for sale. My partner's out of town. We're going to start a restaurant. We went on the next day, went over to Morro Bay, had a brunch out on the bay where the fishing boats are coming in. These guys were yelling down below. It was a perfect morning. My wife and I got to sit out there on this deck with the sun coming up, and but we had these guys yelling down below us, and it was a dad and son arguing over where the son's friends were at. Well, they had gone out the night before and partied too hard, and they didn't show up for the fishing trip. So I leaned over the deck and I asked the gentleman, I said, excuse me, my wife and I, this is my new bride, her name's Carissa, this is my best friend. We're just trying to have some peaceful, a peaceful little brunch here. Would you guys mind? And the dad says, he goes, well, then tab out and you get on the boat. So we did. And we went 20 miles out to sea with our newfound friends, which was a little bit scary. My wife was kind of looking at me like, are you sure about this? My wife caught a shark. We caught 17 fish that day, brought it back, had a bonfire on the beach, which was another one of the things on our list, which I don't think you can do except for the movies, but we had a bonfire on the beach. We cooked our dinner off of our catch that night. It was magical. The next few days, multiple days, we traveled up to Napa Valley. We snuck into Robert Zinsky Vineyards. We camped out. We snuck out of there without the vintner knowing. We were marking stuff off our list. We almost had everything taken care of. 3 weeks, fast forward, we're due to fly out of San Francisco. We brought one nice pair of clothes to go out to a really great restaurant. And this was our last night before we went back to the real world. I had made reservations at a very fine restaurant. I asked them specifically for the best table in the house. My wife and I get dressed. We're headed to the restaurant. I get a phone call from Steve at Central Coast Brewing Company, the brewery that we had stopped back at 2 weeks ago at San Luis Obispo. He said, Chad, I read up on your guys' story. I want to help you out. I'm going to sell you this brewing equipment because I think that this industry needs more people that are just focused and can hone their crafts. And I want to help you. So get down here before I change my mind. He offered a price that I couldn't pass up. I looked over at my wife. She was driving, and I said, honey, I'm so sorry. And she already had the turn signal on. We drove through the night to San Luis Obispo. I was on the phone with my family members. My credit card company's trying to get up limits. We dropped into San Luis Obispo. I had trucker, palletizers, forklift operators. Everybody showed up at 8 o'clock in the morning. We loaded the 4-barrel system that you guys will see in a little picture over here on the wall. We loaded that up on a truck. I called my brother, who was working brunch at a restaurant here in Denver, multiple times. Finally got a hold of him. All I can muster is I said, Brandon, Black Shirt Brewing Company is alive. He thought I got into some really weird mushrooms out in California. I told him, I said, we're the proud new owners of a brewing system that's actually going to allow us to brew enough beer to afford to move Black Shirt Brewing Company out of our house and find a commercial location. I usually get choked up at this point. I'm going to try and power through it because this was a pretty monumental thing for us, and we built this with a lot of people's help. I'm very tenacious when it comes to setting my mind to something, and I'll find a way to get it done. But I couldn't have done it with a lot of different people's help, and I ran into some luck. And later I'll share a story about some bad luck with this place, but this took a lot of luck and a lot of tenacity to keep after. We got back here to Denver. We scouted places for a year. We found this place. We tore all the walls out of here. There's a documentary called Crafting a Nation that filmed us for a year while we built this entire place out. We dug the trenches. We built the walls, we built all the tables. The only thing that I didn't build would be the chairs and the brewing system. Those chairs came from my high school science lab. I told my school when I'm leaving there, I was the valedictorian of my high school class, destined to be this Harvard lawyer. I wanted to build a brewery. I watched Fight Club 20 times too many. When I was 18 years old, had some soul searching, sold off everything. I want to take my science lab chairs with me. Those are coming with me because I'm building a brewery in Denver. So those are the only things that we didn't build here. And this for me is pretty special to get to talk to you guys about this story. So I really appreciate you bearing with me through this whole story. So we built this. It took us 2 years. I was here till 1 or 2 in the morning every single night after my day job to build this place out. The last day of the film of Crafting a Nation was our opening day. I then put myself into the hospital out of pure exhaustion. I had slept maybe 2 or 3 hours a night. I had a little boy with my wife. It was a surprise, and everybody thought that was going to be the death of me. But it was that little boy, that little new figure in my life that provided the power and the fire for me to finish this place out. All I could muster was getting this place open. Once I knew it was open, I went in the hospital for 2 weeks. My organs were shutting down. I had painted, you guys will see in our tap room, a big middle finger. Johnny Cash, kind of a famous photograph back in the day. I told my wife I was going to paint the biggest middle finger that I could and hang it in our tap room because to build this place out over 2 years, this took a hell of a lot. Keep in mind, we're dealing with a city that has plenty of breweries in it at this time. They made us do some pretty strange changes here, and at times I felt there were forces keeping us from opening this place up. First of all, the feds saying, hey, we're just pulling your license, you're no longer allowed to brew out of your house in South Denver. We have Y Delta power in this building. This used to be a grow operation, we're pretty sure of it. There's enough power in this building when we got into it to power about 10 of these systems. And the city said that to get our certificate of occupancy, we needed to bring Delta 3. We had Y Delta, we needed Delta 3. We needed to bring that about 5 blocks away, about $20,000 worth of work before they were going to give us our certificate of occupancy. We're at the finish line of this place. My wife and I are living in a shack over by the railroad tracks over here with our newborn son, eating top ramen probably 4 or 5 nights out of the week, because everything that I made went into building each stud, each wall, each piece of drywall in this place. And then they pop a $20,000 change on me like that. We found a way to do it. We found a way to work around the banks that wouldn't lend us any money. Went to probably 15, 17 banks, and we're a new business. Denver is built around small business. You know, they're advocates for people who have this entrepreneurial spirit. Yet we don't have any funding for any of those people that want to do to build their little fantasy factory. So I had to go to our equipment suppliers and tell them, you've got equipment that you can't sell to me because I can't get a loan for that equipment. And you're not going to move your equipment until I get this loan, and they're just not going to loan me the money. So will you be the bank? No. Will you be the bank? Sooner or later, with enough tenacity, I found the equipment suppliers that finally agreed to become the bank for us here. So how did I do this? And when you look in here and you see this equipment, you know, this is millions of dollars to put something like this together, and I didn't have that. I worked 3 jobs that I hated for 14 years to build this place, but I didn't have that money to finish this out. So I went to equipment suppliers and found a way around the banks. I pulled some different stuff here to make this happen, and you have to think creatively, and thank God for my wife putting up with my crazy ideas that maybe this will work. Can't do this, but maybe we can do this. And if that doesn't happen, maybe we can do this. So we opened in 2012, October of 2012 here. And we brewed for 3 months straight to open here. We ran out of beer in one day, and we closed down until January of 2013, and then we opened for 1 day a week. And we brewed 24 hours a day. We built sleeping lofts above our bathrooms. A little after that, we hired this little firecracker over here that keeps us smiling in this tap room, and the rest is kind of history. We put the 4-barrel system in, and 7 months after that, we found a way to put a 1,000-gallon system that allowed me to finally quit my day job about a year and 9 months ago. So I get to do this for the rest of my life, and I love this. And I'm gonna show you guys about how the beer is made if you want to learn about that. But more importantly, just being able to be here and tell my story and have like-minded people who think outside of the box about following your dreams or not letting something stop you. I wouldn't let anything stop me to build my dreams. I encourage you to do the same. Hopefully you guys follow your dreams, and thank you for coming in and enjoying what we make here and supporting us. We really appreciate it. Justin, I'm done talking, man.